Very useful. Cover to Sedra. Couldn't be better. Right. Okay. Next time we'll have a Devar Torah or something. A juicy bit to put our teeth into. Okay. Hearing the Devar Torah just now, it reminded something which I didn't intend saying, but I thought it's reminded by this Devar Torah. I thought it's very worth saying. We heard just now that HaKadosh Baruch Hu took Avram and he promised him. By the way, we're looking at this from 3,000 years later. Avram was a man, quite an old man, with a wife, and that's all they were. You see them walking past here, you wouldn't give them a second look. You'd probably think they need a couple of sticks, one for Sarah and one for Avram. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu promised him great, great things. He had to have faith. We're looking at it now, 3,000 years later. And we've seen how the whole history has unfolded, and every word which HaKadosh Baruch Hu promised has been fulfilled fully. That's number one, right? Now, following on from your Devar Torah, HaKadosh Baruch Hu took Avram out and promised him the land of Israel. That's where we are now, here. We walk outside, right? This is the land which Hashem promised Avram 3,000 years ago. And after hearing all these promises, Avram Avinu says, this is not worth anything to me as long as I don't have any children. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu took him out. I'm not repeating the Sedra, but I'm just took him out and showed him the stars. This is how your children are. They're going to be so numerous as the stars in heaven. First of all, it's a bit of a problem. There are millions of stars. There's not so many Jewish people around. There's, I think, 15 million. There are far more stars than there are Jews around. So where's the fulfillment of that bracha? And number one, in the very Sedra in the beginning, when Hashem told Avram to leave the land, he says, "V'samti ezaracha, and I will make your children ka'afar ha'aretz, like the dust of the earth." So Avram Avinu already had a promise from Hashem that he's going to have children. So what's he worried about now? When Hashem, by the Pisbein of Soin, you haven't given me any children, so HaKadosh Baruch Hu took him out and showed him the stars. But Hashem, and the Or Chaim says this, by the way, Hashem already said to Avram, your children will be like the dust of the earth. They'll be numerous. You'll have lots and lots of descendants. So what's Avram said? I haven't got any children. You know? He's got a promise. Where's Avram's faith? So the Or Chaim says like this: the promise of Hashem to Afar Ha'oretz. Afar Ha'oretz is dust, not particularly high quality, lowly. So he was promised. There's lots and lots of millions of people in the world who are not so, right? And that was the first promise. So Avram Avinu said, I'm not satisfied with that promise, says the Or Chaim. Right? My children have got to be special. They've got to be like the stars in the heavens, each one individual, each one special. And he got a promise from Hashem. So we don't actually value what we actually are. We are very, very special, right? And this is not that because we're so special we can sleep in bed till 11 o'clock and take life because we're special. We have, HaKadosh Baruch Hu has entrusted us with a special job. Hashem has given us His Torah. And the Swan go even further. When you blow into something, I think the Baal Shem Tov says is when you blow, you feel a bit weak and you can't go on blowing. When you blow, a bit of your koyach goes into the blowing. So when it says HaKadosh Baruch Hu blew into Adam, he blew in part of himself, as far as we understand it. And we are told by the Svarim HaKadoshim that every Yid has got a chelik elokam imad, has got a part in them which is godly, each and every one of us, right? And one has to realize this, and this hopefully this will give us a certain importance. This was just led on from what you said. So Avram was told before, your children would be like the dust of the earth. Avram says, having numerous, so there's billions of Chinamen in the world, big deal. So what? Not one of them believe in Hashem, except one that I was teaching in Sameach, a ger. I was teaching a guy, and he converted, and he was really, really, really genuine. He learned nicely. So I said to him, "You're an inspiration. You're one in billions. How many Chinamen are there? But they're all atheists. They don't believe in anything. Right? So what's that? That's the dust of the earth. Right? HaKadosh Baruch Hu promised Avram, your children will be like the stars. Okay, that's one thing. Now, if you remember last week, we were catching up on Sedra Bereshis, although Sedra Noach. So we neglected a little bit of Noach. So I thought maybe just say one thing about Sedra Noach. It says the animals that came into the ark, the pasuk says, Ish ve'ishtai. You know, all the animals they did what's the right word? They were perverts. They didn't keep to their own kinds. Only animals that kept to their own kinds were allowed in the ark. So the pasuk says, Ish ve'ishtai. What's the translation of Ish ve'ishtai? A man and his wife. How can you call animals Ish ve'ishtai? This is pasuk. Pasuk says they came to Noach, Ish ve'ishtai. Right? Ish ve'ishtai, Mr. and Mrs. Lion. Ish. They're not Ish and they're not Ishtai. Well, how can it be Ish ve'ishtai? Simple question. And then we'll leave Noach behind till next year, Mitzvah Hashem. So maybe the explanation is like this. Why did the animals not stick to the laws of nature and stick to their own kinds? Because the human beings also diverted from what they should do, right? They were, trying to find the right English word, they were, can anybody help me on that? They didn't stick to their own kinds. They were?
Flaky.
They were, whatever. Anyway, you know what I mean. So this influenced the animals. See, animals also didn't, so they also had to be destroyed. Why did the animals have to be destroyed? Because they were influenced by the corrupt behavior of the human beings. Now, any animal that came into the ark was not corrupt. Why wasn't that animal corrupt? Because if the animals are influenced by the wicked people, how much more so they should be influenced by the tzaddikim. So Noach and his wife, they kept to their species, as they should. They acted as man and wife. So these animals that came into the ark were part of the influence of Noach, therefore they had in them this power of Ish ve'ishtai, therefore the Torah calls them Ish ve'ishtai. So that helps us to understand how you can call animals Ish ve'ishtai. That's as far as the Sedra Noach. The beginning of this week's Sedra tells us, Lech lecha mi'artzecha. Avram Avinu was 75 years old when Hashem appeared and spoke to him the first time. The Medrash says he was 3 or 5 years old when he realized there's Hashem around. And if you think that Avram looked around and said, oh wow, this is a fantastic world, it didn't happen by itself, all these flowers and fruits and animals and creatures and this and the sun and the moon and the stars, it didn't happen by itself. Rabbi Beaton goes into details. You've got this, the only planet which has got round its air is Earth. And this air which is round the Earth, air, right? You can't live a few seconds without Earth, therefore, without air, therefore there's plenty of it. And the mixture of the gas, which is called air, is exactly suitable to the needs of the human being. You can't take in and breathe any old stuff. If you step in behind a bus and you get the exhaust in your face, it's sickening, right? So you've got this air which is just around, it's all created for human beings. You see purpose in the whole creation. The sun, big, hundreds and hundreds of times bigger than the earth. A big ball of fire. I often wondered if you make a fire and you don't keep fueling it, so how does it keep burning? This, for 3,000 years, for 5,000 years we're up to, this big sun has been boiling and the heat is intense, right? What fuels it? And what percentage of the sun do we use on the earth? The rays of the earth, of the sun, come down and they give us light, and also they allow us to move around. Now, if you wouldn't have the sun, so most things would be dark. You wouldn't have heat, we'd freeze to death. So you've got the rays of the sun. The sun is 98 million miles away, or 93 I think it is. With a few million doesn't make all that much difference. 93 million miles away, and you've got the rays of the sun radiating on all sides. What percentage of the power of the sun do we actually use here on the earth? Very little. Yet, we see this is anything which Hashem has created without number, without distances, space. If you're in a space rocket, I've deviated from what I wanted to say, but I suppose if you think you need to say something, so it's kind of come from above, this is what you should tell them. Right? Space, if you were in a space rocket, and the space rocket would be travelling 1,000 miles a second. How far is America from here? Right? 3,000 miles, 6, 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you'd be in America. That's the kind of speed you're going. Imagine. And you're in the space rocket, and you're going into outer space, going deeper and deeper. If that's how much you can travel in 1 second, how much can you travel in a minute? 60 times as much. In an hour, multiply it again. In a day, by 24. In a week, in a year, right? And you're going for a human being would not live long enough to be able to explore the extremities of space. Anything which is created by Hashem is limitless. It's without on the earth you've got all things that grow. How many blades of grass are there in the world? And whichever way you... And not only can you see the greatness of Hashem in the vastness, you can also see the works of Hashem in the minutest detail. I mean, science has opened up different fields. I mean, you can get on the head of a pin. I don't even know what they call it because I'm not very knowledgeable in these things. But you can get nitrons, I don't know what they're called. But you've got thousands and thousands of different particles, and each particle is absolute perfection, and it's working with others. And they haven't got down to the smallest possible thing. Working with Hashem, there's no limit of all these things. And all these things, so Avram looked round, and Avram saw this wide world when he was 3 or 4, and said, there must be a creator. It couldn't have come by itself. So if you think now HaKadosh Baruch Hu straight away says, yeah, hi Avram, I've been looking for somebody who'd noticed me for years. No way. Hashem only appeared to Avram when he was 75 years old. That means, let's say he recognized Hashem when he was 5. 70 years passed when there was no interaction between Hashem and Avram. Then Hashem appears to Avram, right? And Avram has been married now, correct me if I'm wrong, with Sarah. Probably they got married when they were about, say, 25 or 20. I don't think there's any record of when they got married. So they'd been, now he was 75, they'd now been married for how many years? 50 years. No children. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu promises him, don't worry, you're going to have children. V'agad lo shemecha, I will make you a great name, and from you will descend a great nation. Got this old Yid of 75. His wife is 10 years younger, 65, and Hashem promises, from you is going to come a great nation. The whole world is going to... We look at it 3,000 years later and we can see it's totally fulfilled. Forget about the Torah aspect. Just in the world of what's happening, there was a worldwide competition of innovations and inventions. Now all the mighty countries of the world competed for this. America, Germany, India, China, all the nations of the world, they gave out prizes. The big America got 3 prizes. Shmecky little Israel, which you can walk across in one day, got 2 prizes. And it's a tremendous achievement. I'm not talking about the world of China, the world of science, the world of computer, all these things. The Jewish people lead the world. The Pasuk says, and I will bless you, and through you will be blessed all the families of the earth. 80% of world communication systems have got Israeli technology in them. 80%. The country makes billions exporting technology to Africa to make things grow, and so on and so on. Avraham Avinu was promised this 3,000 years ago, and we can see that it's been fully fulfilled, the whole thing. Now Avraham is promised, 75 years old, his wife is 65, an old couple, they haven't had any children, give up hope. HaKadosh Baruch Hu promises, no, you're going to have children, you're going to be a mighty nation. So you think the next day you go to the doctor, and the doctor says, good news, you're expecting. No, when did Avraham have his first child? How old was he? He was 100. How many years went past from the promise until he actually had the children? 25 years. You think HaKadosh Baruch Hu promises, right, that's it. Right? Next week, things will start working. 25 years went past before he had his first child. That was Avraham Avinu. Strong faith, but it wasn't easy. And through life, as we see from Avraham, the person faces all different types of challenges. And each one wants to try their best to understand that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is in total control of everything. Just a question, we're running out of time. Lot, there's a mighty battle between 5 kings and 4 kings. In those days, battles were really laboured. Now they just shoot rockets and they blow up things. Humanity has advanced. In those days, you had the 2 armies facing each other. It makes very good films. You see the 2 armies clash. And you've got to have a very, very strong stomach. And you kill this fellow, and then another one wants to kill you, and you kill another one. And, it's laboured, to say the least, right? So you've got 4 kings with all their armies fighting against 5. The 4 kings won. And Lot was taken prisoner. He didn't mind living near Sodom. Avraham hears that Lot, his nephew, is taken prisoner. He launches an Entevi. You know what Entevi is? You know the story there? You weren't around in those days, but it was something which was fantastic. The whole world looked in admiration. There was 7 o'clock was going to finish before. Anyway, there was a tremendous rescue operation. An aircraft was hijacked, and it was taken to, where is it, Luanda, and there was some big behemoth who was in charge there, who was called Idi Amin, who was a big black man, right? And all these people who were taken prisoner, they were in mortal danger. And the Israelis launched a rescue operation. They flew over from here to there, which is not round the corner, and they managed to rescue them all. Tough little fella, yeah? And the whole world was astounded how they could achieve such a thing. It wasn't without loss, because Netanyahu's brother, who was in the commander, it was a commander operation, was killed actually, Netanyahu's brother. So it wasn't without loss. But they rescued all these people. The whole world was full of admiration. But they didn't just sit here and say, we can't do anything about it. When Lot was captured, Avraham launched an attack against the 4 kings. One man says only with Elazar, only with the 2 of them, 2 people, taking on the armies of 4 armies, a bit outnumbered, I would say. According to Al-Mephoshim, it's 318, but still totally outnumbered. And he goes, and Baruch Hashem, he's rescued Lot. Baruch Hashem. He's worried about his wife. She's very beautiful, and Paro's going to take her. So he says, you know what? Say you're my sister, and then they won't kill me because I'm your brother, and I'll be okay. So Avraham plots a good idea which will save his own skin. They won't kill me. What about his wife? What's going to happen to her? There's nothing. And even when she's taken prisoner, what does Avraham do? Nout. What's going on here? For his nephew, what does he do? He launches a rescue operation. And for his wife, nothing. Any explanations, anybody? It's an obvious question in a way. The answer might be quick. There's a Gemara which tells a story of a Beis HaMedrash which had a snake with 7 heads. Now this is one of the Gemaras where either you take it literally or you have a look at the Moral, and the Moral explains what it's all about. Anyway, nobody could go into this Beis HaMedrash. A snake with 1 head is bad enough, but a snake with 7 heads, right? So nobody could go in. So they said, this great man, Rabbi Beaton, is coming. Nobody should offer him hospitality, and he'll stay in the Beis HaMedrash overnight, and he'll deal with it. He stays in the Beis HaMedrash in the middle of the night, snake with 7 heads. I hope nobody will have any nightmares here tonight, right? And he manages to deal with it. And in the morning he says to them, if a miracle wouldn't have happened, I would have been endangered. The Moral, by the way, says Pshat. It doesn't actually mean a snake with 7 heads. There's lots of Chazal where, on face value, it seems a bit queer. There's one Chazal which says there was a bird which laid an egg, and the egg smashed, and it drowned 60 cities. I mean, I don't think you can take that literally. No? No? Okay. So here, so Rabbi Beaton says, if you wouldn't have endangered me, right, I would have. So the Mashal asked, how can they rely on a miracle? So my short answer is, if you're sure that somebody is 100% tzaddik, you've got to be sure, then you can rely that HaKadosh Baruch Hu will look after them. For yourself, that's an arrogance. Why should Hashem give me special treatment? But if you're sure that somebody else is something extra special, then you can rely. Avraham Avinu knew what Sarah was all about. He knew she's no problem. Hashem will look after her. Didn't have to do anything. Lot was far from being a tzaddik, he had to do something to rescue him. And next week, Sedra, when they go down to Avimelech, Avraham Avinu does exactly the same thing. He says to Sarah, I know you're beautiful, it's going to be a problem, so you're my sister. And she says it, and didn't you know from this week's Sedra what's going to happen? The answer maybe is that he jolly well knew. And he knew that Sarah was a tzaddik, and he knew that Hashem wouldn't let her down. So, therefore, he didn't have to worry about Sarah. No, he had to worry about. I think that covers most of what we wanted to say. Just one other question. Avraham is thrown into a fiery furnace and comes out alive. He's not rather than serve idols. His brother sees what's going on, so he thinks, well, this is easy. So he also refused to bow down to idols. They got hold of him, they flung him into the fire, and he didn't survive. Why doesn't the Torah tell us it was one of Avram's tests? It's Midrashim, comes from, of course, a good source, but it doesn't say it actually in the Torah. Why doesn't the Torah actually tell us this fantastic story? Avram is thrown into a fiery furnace, and he's sitting there smoking his cigarette and relaxing, right, in the middle of the fiery furnace. Why doesn't the Torah tell us that? Can I leave you with that question? Let me know the answer. Okay? All right.